melt is when I'm ocean waves.
Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have the Cramp, Carter Cramp, one of my favorite players, basketball players in the Northern Virginia area the last couple of years. He was a battler, kind of a combo guard for Battlefield. Make some 3-pointers, could jump on the floor for loose balls and play some defense. And in soccer, had a great career. He scored 27 goals, I believe, in the last 2 years. And one season even had 10 assists, making second team all district. Carter's also in the weightlifting and pretty much a power lifter. He's heading to James Madison in just a few weeks. Carter, great to see you. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Brown. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. Well, one thing I'll say about you, Carter, the first time I really focused on you was at the South Lakes game this year, early in the season. And you were playing, but I think it's possible you may have started because I know you're a big football player. I can't think of his name. He was gone, and there were some players that weren't there, and you got a lot of playing time that night. You played really well. But I have to say, you're the most unlikely looking basketball player I've seen in a long time. Wear your hair long, in a ponytail, big guy. Do you feel like that you've been underestimated as a player? That like when you play pickup ball, if kids still play, do people underestimate you because you look different than most basketball players?
Oh, 1000%. I mean, it started when I was in like middle school when I first got a little like overweight, I would say. But I mean, I'm always overestimated. I mean, or underestimated. I started the South Lakes game because Ty Gordon was not there, yes, for football reasons. I mean, I wasn't expecting to start this senior year at all, but I mean, with that game especially, it really showed Coach Bills that I could play. And I mean, I think it put a lot of people on notice that even though I'm stockier, I don't look like I'm fast, I don't look like I can play. But I mean, I think I put everybody on notice when I started handling the ball and facilitating the game a little bit.
So you think that works in your favor? A lot of times people underestimate you, but they may give you that 3-point shot, thinking you're more of a role player.
Especially for 3-pointers and especially on defense. When I'm playing defense on per se someone else's like better player or their best player on the other team, they definitely seem to underestimate me and think, you know what, I'm just going to drive right past this guy. But, I stay right there with them.
Yeah, I think in the South Lakes win, you guys beat South Lakes. You covered Jordan Scott, a player that I think is going to be in the NBA one day, and you did a good job. You guys won. Was that the game plan going in for you to cover Jordan Scott?
It wasn't actually. It was for Manny to cover him. But after, Coach Bills tried me on him for the first like 5 or 6 minutes after he scored 4 points in a row in the first 2 minutes, I took that personal that, you know what, I'm not going to let this guy score on me. And I think I held him to about like 6 points. But I mean, I did take it personal. But when Bills told me to not let him get anything, I made that my mission for the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's a great game. What about soccer? Do people underestimate you in soccer? Now, the thing about soccer is different. Everyone comes in different packages of soccer because there's so many different positions. And you could be Lionel Messi's 5'4". You have great players who are 6'6". It just doesn't matter. Is it the same thing in soccer? People underestimate you?
I think it's definitely a lot less in basketball because I am a forward in soccer, but I think it still does happen because I am a stockier player. That, the traditional background for soccer players is, quick, short, skinnier guys. But for me, obviously, I'm 6 foot. You don't see a lot of 6 foot stocky guys playing soccer. But I mean, that first time I sprint by him and score a goal, it definitely puts him on notice.
Yeah. Well, do you consider yourself a soccer player that also plays basketball, or a basketball player that also plays soccer?
I would say as of right now, basketball that plays soccer, just because I did start basketball before I started soccer. But I mean, honestly, with where I'm at with both sports, I would consider it even because I haven't really picked one. I'm equally as good as both of them. I haven't picked one, but if I was to pick one, it would definitely be basketball playing soccer.
Yeah. So one of my podcast interviews with Coach Bills, he described you, and I didn't know what player he was referring to, but he described you as the soccer player, and I didn't know he was soccer too. So I think Coach Bills, you had to prove, hey, Coach, I'm a basketball player. I'm not a soccer player.
Yeah, definitely. he always used to refer to me as York because I do have a soccer offer from a school in Pennsylvania
Yeah.
called York.
Hmm.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, with the coaching staff, they always like to call me the soccer player just to, troll me and try to get under my skin. But it definitely motivates me.
Yeah, one of my son Chandler's teammates from Barca played at a team called Barca Dorados now. His name is Justin Cully. He plays at York. He's a sophomore. He had a great freshman season there. So when did you get into weight training, and how does weight training affect your performance in basketball and soccer?
So a little backstory: in elementary school, I was very skinny. I was one of the twigs, normal kids. And then between, I want to say, sixth grade to sophomore year, I started gaining weight. I didn't really care about it too much. I mean, it didn't affect me in sports, but I did gain weight. And then I would say right around sophomore year, I was 240 pounds. And I was like, something needs to change. And then when I tried out for basketball sophomore year, one of our coaching staff members, Coach Bill Witter, told me that we'll put you on the team, but I need to see something change. And I took that personally. And from between then and I want to say the end of summer sophomore year, I dropped all the way down to 175. So I lost 60 pounds basically. And then after I lost weight was when I decided, you know what, might as well get bigger. Like I don't want to be this little skinny kid. So I started to pick up the weights a little bit from I've been lifting ever since that moment. So definitely me being overweight did put me in a position where I needed to change something. So after losing weight, weight training was definitely the way to go. And I think in sports, it definitely plays an advantage in basketball when obviously I'm guarding someone that's, let's say, 6'4", like Jordan Scott. It definitely gives me an advantage when I'm guarding people in the post to, hold my own, not let them back me down. And in soccer, when you have those 50-50 balls, and you just need to use your body, use your weight, use your strength to, basically say that's my ball and you're not taking it from me.
Yeah. Well, do you compete in weight training too, or you just do something to enjoy it or to show off at the beach?
I mean, I've never competed. It's definitely for self satisfaction and self enjoyment. But I mean, it does feel good at the beach when, you take your shirt off and all the bunch of people say, you look good, you're big. It does make you feel good.
Yeah, I've never had that problem. Did you ever play football?
I didn't. Surprisingly, I was going to play freshman year. I was going to play fullback freshman year, but I decided not to. But yeah, I've never played football.
Yeah, it seems like you'd be great. I mean, that's the problem with basketball, playing basketball and soccer. Like Matthew Leonard, a guy that I interviewed, he plays at Marshall, great basketball player, but also he's going to College of Charleston soccer. Those are two high technical sports, and you got to spend a lot of time in both of them. It's not football is one you don't have to spend as much time on the technical probably, but you have to spend some. It would probably have been hard for you to play football and keep up the high level because Battlefield is a state level program in both soccer and basketball.
Yeah, it would have been a little tough to, go in not having any football background. But I mean, especially this year with Coach Hatfield and, Caleb and a bunch of my friends, and especially Maddox. Maddox played kicker. This
Oh,
was
that's
his first
right.
playing
Yeah.
football. But all of them tried to get me to play, and with what I was trying to go for in basketball, just for personal like satisfaction, and soccer, I was like, I'm not gonna play football. I'm gonna focus on, perfecting my game for basketball and soccer before the season started.
Yeah. Well, who are your role models, would you say, in basketball? Is there anyone out there that had a special influence on you, or maybe someone you try to model after? Maybe Charles Barkley?
I mean, I would say if I had to choose, I would I would combine with Dennis Rodman and honestly Draymond Green. It's kind of weird answer, but I mean they're both hustlers. They both take pride in the things that aren't just scoring, which is what obviously I like to do. I mean, I love to score, but I like to, impact the game in all facets. So defense, rebounding, hustle. I just feel like watching and seeing them, be successful in the NBA with not just scoring definitely help motivate me to do things other than score.
Well, you're a much better shooter than both those guys.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely.
How about soccer? Any player out there you try to model after, or maybe
Um,
just the hero?
I mean, I would say definitely Messi and this guy named Erling Haaland. He is a forward for Man City now. He looks
Oh,
just like me, tall,
yeah,
has a
yeah,
ponytail, but I mean, they both play the game like I like to play, just mean, physical. I'm just gonna run at you for 90 minutes. I mean, and they both have very good shots. So I mean, I try to at least play like them.
yeah. Just real quickly before we get to your basketball season, does the weight training does it affect your shooting? I don't think I've ever seen such a big guy with a nice touch, because it's hard to do both when your body's changing quickly. It can affect your ability to have an effective outside shot. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have asked me. My answer is no, but I think it's no because, like I said, when before I lost all my weight, I was bigger. So I feel like with me being bigger previously, it helped me at least get used to being a little bigger when I was shooting. But I mean, honestly, ever since I've started lifting weights, I've never had a problem with it.
Do you work really hard on your outside shot? You spend hours?
Yeah. Oh, I would say so. In sixth grade, I got cut. I didn't even make past first cuts, and literally right after those tryouts, I went. So I went to Bull Run, and I live like 10-minute walk from there. So I would walk up to the outside courts every day, shoot for like 2 hours. But I mean, ever since then, between then and obviously this season, I would say I probably shot for 2 hours a day, no rest day. And I would say I probably put up between 500 and 700 shots a day. So
Wow.
I did put up a lot of jump shots in my
Yeah.
day.
Did you have to convince Coach Bills to give you the green light? Was there a moment where he said, you can shoot it? Because oftentimes when they have guys like you on the team, you come in, they want you to get on the floor for some loose balls, play some defense, but you don't necessarily, your role is not to shoot that three. Did you have to convince him to give you the green light?
Honestly, sometimes yes, only because sometimes when I was hot, Maddox was also hot. But obviously, Maddox was the first go to for a 3-pointer. But I mean, in those games, like the Gainesville game when I had 3 threes in the first quarter, or the Patriot game where I had 3 threes in the first half, I wouldn't have to convince him. We'd get in the huddle and he'd tell me in front of everybody, Carter, you get the ball, you're open. I want you shooting. I don't care. He would tell the other guys to look for me. So, I mean, sometimes I would only have to convince him when me and Maddox were both hot. But I mean, other than that, if I could show him in the first 5-10 minutes of the game that I'm hot, he would just let me go at it.
Yeah. Spills is one of my favorite coaches in terms of his style. He's a very positive coach. He doesn't spend a lot of time yelling at his players or the officials. Who knows what happens during practice, but during a game, he seems to be a very positive influence. Talk a little bit about Coach Bills and what he's meant to you.
I mean, he's meant a tremendous amount to me, ever since I came in as a freshman, seeing him at the workouts for the first time. I mean, he's definitely a very positive coach during games. He never wants you to, harm yourself on the little things, the little mistakes, like, one travel here and there, one turnover, one bad pass, because he knows you can make up for it with two good plays in the next 2 minutes. Because anything can happen in basketball. Basketball is a very quick sport. You could turn the ball over, harm yourself on it for 30 seconds, and then come back down the court and hit a 3-pointer per se. So he's definitely always been a look forward, don't look backward coach. He always wants you to be positive, always encourage your teammates. I mean, and between him, Coach Witter, and Coach Street, that's where my whole body transformation came from. So between that and, picking me up as a junior after I accomplished that, I feel like I can go to them with anything. They can answer it for me. They can support me. So I love them. I love them all.
That's great. Well, let's talk about your junior year when you guys upset Patriot in the state state quarterfinal,
State
semifinals. So they Patriot had a great team, and I think they've beaten you. I think 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times. 4 times going in.
We were 0-4 before that game against them.
So talk a little bit about that game. That had to be very special moment.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, junior year, obviously I didn't get much minutes, but I mean, between those all the Patriot games, we never switched up the game plan. It was always the same game plan. It was, don't let Nick and Mike shoot. It was don't let Nasir penetrate. But I mean, that game in the pregame locker room was just different. I mean, you could tell everybody was the most locked in you could possibly be. Nobody was talking in the pregame locker room because we all know what we had to do after losing to them 4 times. Coach Bills didn't even have to give us the pregame speech because we all knew what he was going to say. So, I mean, that game was crazy. And then when Bryce hit the corner three, it was just insane, dude. I can't even describe the feeling. We all ran, we all rushed the court. I mean, but that game particularly, like we all knew what we had to do, so he didn't even have to really tell us at all. He was just fired up. We were playing the way we were playing.
Let's talk about the Patriot Robbery. So that robbery was so good. I made the trip out there, I think at least 3 times this year to watch the game. What did that rivalry mean to play as a player, to play in that rivalry? And what was the electricity like on the court to be a part of that?
I mean, it's been a rivalry obviously ever since I don't even know when. Um, it's cool because you can play with the kids from Patriot or the kids with Battlefield, vice versa, and travel and pick up. Y'all can be friends outside of the game. But like when you play in that game, you don't even want to associate yourself with your friend, your teammate on the other team. Like it's just all our team. We don't care about the other team. I mean, and it's crazy. It feels amazing when you get a turnout like that turnout at a game because it's like you only think that'll happen in college or the NBA, and then you come out for warmups and there's 3,000 people in a high school gym. I mean, it's crazy. Every time your team makes a good play, every time something good happens for your team, just hearing your side of the gym scream. I mean, it's unbelievable. It definitely fires you up and it makes you feel good. You get a turnout like that in a high school game.
Yeah. So I believe you guys started the season out this year. You were undefeated, I believe, almost I think 16-0
We
and
were 14-0.
14-0, and then you played Patriot, and I believe that you led pretty easily in the first half, and I believe that was the first loss of the year. Is that correct?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and then you guys ended up having a great season, finished second in the district, which is fine in terms of postseason. And you end up you beat Gainesville, a game that you had a big role in the first quarter with 3 threes, got yourself going, got the team going, I should say. But then you end up getting upset by Freedom with their 2 guards that are very tough. Talk a little bit about that game. Did you coming into the game? Did you guys know Freedom was tough?
Yeah, I mean, all prep week, Bills was talking to us about, we're not going to get beat by anything else except their guards, because we felt like we outweighed them in everything except for guard play. We felt guard play was fairly even. I mean, we knew it wasn't going to be an easy game, obviously, because it's the region quarterfinals, So I mean, we knew they were going to be crazy tough, but I mean, after the first half, when I saw Tavares shooting triple step back threes, and it was just crazy to watch him and his other guard battle it out. But I mean, they were just making some insanely unbelievable shots. But yeah, I mean, it it was rough in the post game locker room, obviously, because we had hopes to make it back to states, make it back to VCU. But I mean, yeah, it was tough, but they were a great team.
Did it help you that you knew you had soccer coming up? That at least you had at least that competition in the
Yeah,
future. Yeah.
yeah, definitely it helped, especially, obviously it didn't help in the moment right after we lost because, it hurt for everybody, especially, like me, Ty Maddox, and Haas have been playing basketball together since we were like 7. So, I mean, it was rough for the 4 of us and Manny. Manny also played with us. So, us 5, we've been playing together since we were like 7. So, it was rough. But I mean, the days to come, like the day right after, it definitely did help thinking that I had soccer, in a week's time. So it did help definitely because I thought I could, get my revenge from basketball and soccer.
Yeah. Well, then let's talk a little bit about your soccer career. I know your district is very tough in soccer. I don't follow it as closely as basketball, but I know there's some good teams out there. Talk a little bit about your junior year.
Junior year soccer, it was my first year fully on varsity. My sophomore year, I got moved up to varsity like halfway through the season, so it didn't really count. But junior year was, it was crazy. That was when you first realized that the competition for soccer in Nova is also ridiculously competitive. You've got Osborne, which is just Osborne is crazy. You've got us. You've got, Unity Reed was really good at soccer last year. Osborne Park was really good. So but definitely it was a great season. I scored my first varsity goal in the first game of the season against Freedom. I scored two actually. It was an amazing feeling. But yeah, we had a great season. Fell short in the region quarterfinals yet again. We lost to Forge. We got killed. I think it was 5-0, 5-1. But I had a great season. I bonded with a bunch of my teammates I didn't know yet. So it was fun. I ended up getting second team all district.
Yeah, is there the same energy for high school soccer in I think it's a Cedar Run district, isn't it? The Cedar Run. Is it the same energy on the soccer field as there is in basketball?
Definitely between the players. Obviously, you don't get the same turnout as basketball and soccer just because, most people think soccer is a boring sport to watch. And I get that, but playing it's totally different. But yeah, soccer is ultra competitive, especially with the kids who only play soccer.
Mhm.
I mean, I would say it's the most competitive in terms of like being equal with basketball between like us, Osborne Park, and Osborne, because our three teams have basically been at the top of the district for like the past 3 or 4 years. And Patriot last year was good. Patriot wasn't as good this year, unfortunately, but I would definitely say that the competition and the heat between players is definitely comparable to basketball.
Yeah. And the girls teams out there are fantastic as well.
Yeah, our
So
girls team's very good.
yeah, they are, and Patriot was good too. So you lose this year in basketball to Freedom, but soccer season starts. You made another run to states. It was a great season again. Talk a little bit about your senior season in soccer.
Senior year was great. I got named captain, which felt really rewarding. A bunch of these guys I've also been playing with since I was like 8 or 9. So it was basically let's all bond together. We don't care about personal stats. We don't care about any of that. We just, want to make it to the state tourney, make a state run because our men's soccer team hasn't been to state since 2017.
Hmm.
So we just wanted to make that push. I had a slow start to senior year. I scored in a scrimmage, and then I don't think I scored for like the first 5 or 6 games. I was getting assists, but I wasn't scoring. And then when I think we played Freedom for the second time, so the second cycle around the district is when I really started playing good. I had 12 or 13 goals in like 6 games.
Hmm.
So it was definitely fun. I've never made it that far for soccer, so definitely making it to the state tourney was cool. We got to host a states game, which I never did for basketball. But I got to bond even closer with my teammates, especially the ones I was playing with since I was like 8 or 9. It's a hard send off, but most of them that I've been playing with are playing college soccer, so they weren't, devastated. But obviously, it is hard because it's your last high school game. But I think I had a successful year.
Yeah. Uh, Carter, who's your soccer coach, and what did you learn from him?
Soccer coach Mr. Homan and Coach Steve Smith. Steve has been, working with my travel club DSA for a while. So I have learned some things from him in the past. They're definitely not as chill as Coach Bill's, I would say, during games. Obviously, because soccer, there's so little scoring, so everything matters. It could end up being a 1-0 game, and then the one mistake costs you the game. But they're definitely hard on, positive reinforcement with your teammates, especially if you're a captain. I always had to be positive even when I didn't want to be. But they're all about, hard work, heart, attitude, effort. And then when you put all those four things together, especially with 11 guys on the field, wins will definitely come, and wins definitely did come.
Yeah. Well, so, oh yeah, how did the fires, the Canadian fires, how did it affect the state tournament?
So, a especially after winning region, when we won region against Forest Park, we were amped to play states. We were ready. We were like, all right, let's get some momentum with Osborne not being in the state tourney anymore because they lost in region. We were like, all right, come on, this is our chance. Let's get going. We were supposed to play on Wednesday, a Wednesday. And then I get a random text from someone in the group chat saying, hey, coach, what are we going to do about the air quality? And at the time, I was like, what's he talking about? And then he responded with, I don't know. We got a meeting with the AD, VHSL. We'll find out. So it ended up getting canceled Thursday, which means we didn't do anything Thursday. No practice, nothing, because you obviously can't be outside with the air quality. And then it ended up getting canceled Thursday too. And then we were like, all right, dude, this is getting out of hand. We haven't practiced in 3 days. We're trying to play. We're coming off the region title. And then we ended up finding out like really late Friday that we were playing at Friday at 5 o'clock at home. So obviously it was a little bit unfortunate because we didn't get to game plan for the team we were playing. I mean, we watched about 30 minutes of film total, like as a team, but we didn't have time to meet because of the air quality. So, I mean, it definitely was a little unfortunate that it got postponed for 3 days. We didn't get to prepare, but I mean, also our states game was, I think, our worst performance game of the entire year. So, but I mean, we were amped to play, and then not being able to play for those 2 days definitely did hurt a little
Is that Killam or Lansdowne that
bit.
you lost?
Lansdowne.
Lansdowne. Okay. And what was, I watched the game online. What was the feeling like when you knew your career was over? That moment when a great high school competitor like yourself, who's, I don't know, probably not going to play college sports. I'm not sure what your goals are, but what was the moment like when you realized it was over? I saw you went right to the bench and just kind of sat down and chilled for a little bit. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, we had a chance to score with like 5 minutes left, down 2-0. So I was like, after that moment when we didn't score, it kind of set in on me that like, wow, I'm actually done playing like competitive sports. So I mean, after the whistle blew, my final seconds on the field, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I should just, sit down on the field and cry. I had no idea. So I mean, I took my shin guards, cleats off, and I sat there on the bench and I was thinking, I was like, wow, I'm really done playing competitive sports. And all the flashbacks with all my soccer and basketball teammates came through, which did make me a little sad. Um, I mean, it was just sad. I've been playing these sports since I was like 6 or 7, and then competitively since I was like 10. So I mean, it was a little rough. I did cry a little bit just thinking about everything. I mean, but I'm looking forward to JMU. I'm trying to play club basketball and club soccer there.
Yeah.
So, but definitely intramural if not. So obviously, I'm still gonna be doing some stuff. It just won't be at the competitive level as it was before. So that definitely did take my emotions a little bit, just because I'm such a competitive guy. But I mean,
Yeah.
I'm studying sports management at
Oh,
JMU,
good.
so I'm gonna try to stay in sports for the rest of my life because it is my life.
Yeah. So, yeah, you had a tremendous career and lots to be proud of. When you think about an athlete's time on stage, it's like an actress goes to Broadway, actor goes to Broadway, and their time on when a play has a run, and then when it's over, their career's over. It's a very tough moment because that's their time on stage. A high school athlete, that's their time on stage. Those Friday night games when you played Patriot and there's 3,000 screaming people there. Those soccer games when you're playing against Cooper Noseworthy at Osborne, your fellow Dookie. It's hard to mimic that in life. I think one of the reasons why I do podcasts, one of the reasons why I coach, one of the reasons why I do all the things that I've done in sports is I never got over those moments. But on the other hand, the relationships that I made in all those games and those memories are always with you, and they will give you a lot of strength. And I think as my son, who's at UVA, found out, there's time for a lot of other things that you didn't have time when you were shooting all those buckets at Bull Run or or when you were, weight training, all the other things. Now you have time for lots of other things that you didn't have time for in the past.
Yeah, I mean, definitely all those memories from the Patriot games, the Osborne soccer games, all that. I mean, they definitely will stay with me forever. So I feel like, me just leaving those behind as a 12th grader definitely feels weird. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm definitely going to try to keep playing sports because I don't think I could just throw away, those 12 years of sports memories and just leave them there.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, my son, they won the intramural championship like 3 times or twice. And that's all he talks about is winning the shirt. So they're playing. And I did the same thing at basketball when I was there. So there's plenty of athletic outlets throughout life, and you'll find those. But well, anyway, my daughter Lily will be a freshman at Madison. So Lily Brown, if you ever see her around, make sure you introduce yourself. But Carter, I really enjoyed following you this year, and you had a great season, lots of joy. Yeah, I mean, you made an impact that people will never forget. So make sure you say hi to your dad for me. I met him at a game. But look, I appreciate you doing this, and let's keep in touch.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Sure, Carter. Look, have a good rest of your summer and good luck at Madison.
Thank you.